Welcome, everybody, as the American Space Museum presents the golden anniversary of the dawn of the Space Shuttle era 50 years ago. I'm Marquette. Glad that you're enjoying us. I'm the community liaison at the American Space Museum, and we have put this program together here at the Hyatt Place Hotel, which is a beautiful hotel. Everyone are finding out. They got a fifth floor viewing area up there. And throw those slides up there, if you would, for me there, the Hyatt. The outside, oh, that's Triple T. We got Tales from the White Room of Triple T. There's the beautiful Hyatt Place there. And leave that up there as I bring in here with us, a partner of this program is the Astronauts Memorial Foundation. They are all about our fallen heroes in the mirror out there at Kennedy Visitors Complex. And I'd like to introduce to you Isabel Kennedy, Director of Education, and our partner. Isabel?
Hi, everyone. How are we today? Good, I'm glad. My name is Isabel Kennedy. I'm the Director of Education at the Astronauts Memorial Foundation. If you haven't visited us, we're at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, right behind their facilities, and we have a two-part mission. The first part of our mission is to honor our fallen astronauts who've made the ultimate sacrifice, and there at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, you'll see the Space Mirror Memorial. Who's been there? Anyone? Everyone? I figured. Yeah. The second part of our mission.
This is a replication of that.
It is. I didn't even see that.
That's Mr. Tim Gagnon that we just
Hi, Tim.
He and his grandchildren put that together as a
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to get a picture.
You have to go there and talk to him.
Yeah, I will. Hi, Tim. We'll talk. The second part of our mission is to continue the legacy of our astronauts and inspire the next generation of students in STEM and to pursue STEM fields. So we are hosting tons of events at the Astronauts Memorial Foundation. We have a building at the Visitors Complex called the Center for Space Education, and all of that is in my purview. So if you are interested in getting students to Kennedy Space Center or interested in STEM education, that's us. Call us up.
Well, thank you very much, Isabel.
Thank you, everyone.
Folks, our American Space Museum is very involved in STEAM education. And we've done some things out there with some of the groups like from Brazil and Japan that have been out there. So we look forward to partnering with the astronauts, S on the end of it, right?
Correct.
You've learned that real quick, I'm sure.
Yes.
The Memorial Foundation. So they do a lot of good stuff. We look forward to being involved with you on more things there, Isabel. So thank you very
Great.
much.
Thank you, Mark.
You too. Appreciate
Thanks,
that.
everyone.
All right. Well, my boss Karen was giving me this little finger hook thing, and I'm going, that can't be good. But it is. Nicole Stott's in the building. She'll be back. Earthling Nicole Stott's here, so she'll be moseying around here, and you'll get to meet her. And Mike McCulley's floating around here. I think you saw him having lunch, and he's eating, and he's been here all day. And Winston Scott's probably getting his big Corvette filled up with gas to come down here. So anyway, well, without further ado, we have another speaker for this afternoon to be kicked off by the one and only voice of NASA, Mr. Hugh Harris. Come on up here, Hugh.
Thank you, Mark. It's very interesting to introduce Triple T because there isn't anybody else that I know that is known by their initials, and they're all the same. So it's sort of easy to remember. You know, the technicians who worked out at the launch pad were really the unsung heroes of the space program. But Travis, whose middle initial stands for Todd, became one of the sung heroes, representing all of them when the coveralls that he wore in helping the astronauts on nearly 100 missions get off to a good, comfortable start were hung in the Smithsonian Museum in Virginia. And I'm hoping that he's going to reveal how his team helped make sitting on top of a fiery dragon more comfortable and them feel more appreciated and protected. He's also a much appreciated volunteer and tour guide at the Space Museum. Triple T.
Hey. Okay, I'm glad that you guys are here, and this is hopefully going to be fun. I'm going to start out and tell you a little bit about my background. I was born on Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. Got to see my first rocket launches there. When I was in the first grade, they let us outside to watch the launch. And one time a second stage landed in our playground. So how many of you ever saw that in the first grade? So my dad was in charge of the motor pool, chief master sergeant, and my mother worked for McDonnell Aircraft, which later became McDonnell Douglas. So when my dad retired from the Air Force, we moved here in '66, and of course, Florida would not accept California's grading whatever, so I had to start the first grade over again. But my dad went to work for McDonnell Douglas. So my mother worked her way up. Eventually, she was in charge of HR and security. She ran Pad 17A and B. And at the end of the Apollo program, my father got laid off. So who do you think signed my dad's papers? For years, I heard, Thompson, you need to get a job. He said, I had a damn good job, and you fired me. And I heard that more than once. So then in 1968, I went on a bus tour with my grandmother and my two cousins. And back then, they didn't have a fence around the VAB. And they let us get out of the bus and walk right into the VAB, and you can see everything, and it was just cool. And 1968, I was 10. So then I see my dad walking across the transfer aisle in his McDonnell Douglas coverall. And I just started hollering, Dad, Dad. I wanted everybody to know I wasn't a tourist, you know. So, but what I did realize and this was a profound thing on me at 10, when my father walked up to that fence and started talking, everybody on that bus was listening. And that made an impact. Then I knew I don't want to fly in anything. I want to be him. And I kind of grew up to do that. So that's how I got started. Now, we got the...
Travis, let's go here. Look at the screen there, your left.
Yes, sir. That's my office.
Get Pambo.
Yeah, my buddy Pam came to see me up there when Marty suggested a road trip, so the three of us went up there, and there it is in the Smithsonian. I don't know what to think about that, but I was very proud, as Hugh said, and Pambo said that behind this uniform, there's a long line of space work. I don't know, but I sure enjoyed seeing her and seeing it there. And it's right there next to Discovery. There's my buddy Marcia and all my guys. That's next to the Bluebird van that when I stepped out of it, I broke my ankle, and that's when they bought me a new closeout truck. Okay, so we'll do the lightning. I was in the White Room. I believe that's Dave. Did you say STS-8? I think. Now that is the picture of it hitting the lightning rod. The one I'm talking about. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Hit it. Boink. So the day I was up there, it was on a weekend. I think it was a Sunday. It was second shift. I was called a contingency monitor, and I'm just sitting there on the headset, taking care of whatever comes up. Little girl there was called OIC, Orbiter Integrity Clerk. And she would write your name down and the time you go in and out. We're just sitting there, clear sky, no announcements from the firing room, nothing. We're just sitting there, and all of a sudden this lightning bolt comes all the way around the lightning rod, never touched the darn thing, hit the corner of the MLP and put a 20-foot crack 3/4 of an inch wide. loudest boom I've ever heard in my life. NASA doctor told me I'm legally deaf. I have tinnitus. My ears ring all the time, and I can't get it. It hurts. So, you know that booth you go into when you take a hearing test? That's the loudest place I've ever been in my life. Once that door shut, the guy opens it up about a minute later, says, you know we started, right? So, what happened is, got me out of, I was ready to meet Jesus. I thought we were dead. And, but what brought me to my senses was the young girl, I call it, she was rabbiting. She was running. She didn't know where she was going, but she did not want to be there. So I had to run out, and I snatched her and dragged her back in. We just proved that the lightning protection system did not work. So for the next 3 hours, and she probably still hates me today, we had to stay in that white room with lightning, thunder, rocking, bouncing. I'll tell you, I drank beer that night. But 3 hours we stayed there because they wouldn't let anybody come relieve us. They wouldn't let anybody, wouldn't let us leave until the storm rolled out over the ocean. And so we finally, I went home after. I went straight to the 7-Eleven after that. So, yeah, that was pretty covered that one, right, Mark?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So Mr. Glenn flies in 62, and he does 3.5 orbits, and then when he comes back, Mr. Kennedy grounds him. You're now the face, and if you fly again, you can get hurt. No bueno. So I got to put him in on his second flight, and John Glenn in your white room, are you kidding me? Mr. Brown was less than pleased. Is that a good way to say it, Mike? He said at one point they were all asking Mr. Glenn everything, the media. And Mr. Brown says, there's 6 more of us up here, right? And there's me and him in the white room. In my office is what I call it.
Number one there, you looked a little chubby there.
Well, that's about 40 pounds ago. I was married and happy, and yeah, that. Not now. But he's flying. Okay, so what? It was cool on launch day when he showed up at the pad. He already had defibrillator tabs on his chest. The defibrillator leads came out the neck dam on his suit. They sent me to school to learn to work a defibrillator and to know what to look for, because 77, they thought he might get too excited, right? I tell people he wouldn't say crap if he had a mouthful. He said he was a Boy Scout. He kept calling me sir. I'd turn around and look for my dad. I'm thinking to myself, you're the only sir in the room, But what a Boy Scout. And then when he lands, we open the hatch. First thing I see is he's got his barf bag in between his knees. Oh, crap. So I go in. I had to inform safety. Now, naturally, I couldn't let Mr. Glenn out of the ship in the condition he was in. And I couldn't let the other 6 out without Mr. Glenn. Media would have had it framed. Now, you see that guy that was sitting in the top seat? Michael, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't believe commanders understand certain verbiage, and I think no is one of those. And I had to stand at the door while my guys walked him around inside the middeck for 40 minutes because we couldn't let him out. So, you know how when you say something stupid, it's too late, you can't take it back? I did that. So we're taking turns walking him around, and it's been about 40 minutes. And he goes, okay, Trav, I think I'm okay. I think I can make it. I said, John, are you sure? Because there's only about 1 million people watching. We had to walk around for 5 more minutes. And then I got to let Kurt out. I let him go first. He was standing there. He was ready. And then the rest of them came out. But that was, what was it, 9 days, I believe, something. But basically, in the 50s and 60s, they were treated like lab rats. NASA had all of that data. So first they wanted to know, how did it affect you up to 77? Are you different from this 77 that's never flown? Did you grow a third eye? What happened? So then for the 9.5 days or so, he was basically a human experiment. And now they got all the new data and they comparing it with the old data. I've heard you get a little more radiation, the same, almost like airline pilots. And if you fly to Hawaii, so I guess you get a little more than walking on the earth. But he took him about 45 minutes to recover, but he was good.
Take us to the movies, Travis.
All right. So one of the fun things I got to do was I was Clint Eastwood's technical advisor for Space Cowboys, and I got to be in it. And I'll tell you one thing. When you're on an IMAX, your mustache is about that big. My dad, the last movie that my dad saw was The Godfather. That's how long it had been since he had been to a movie. We went to that. I told him, Dad, I'm in a movie with Clint Eastwood. Never said a word. We're sitting there watching the movie, and all of a sudden we come out of the O&C building, and I'm right behind Clint Eastwood when we walk out of the O&C. And all in the middle of the theater, Trav, there you are, there you are. So yeah, that was fun. But I got to meet him, I got to talk to him. Donald Sutherland was I sat down one time, they brought their own caterers from California, their own trucks. What food we had, stuffed crabs, all kinds of stuff. So I went and sat right in the middle of Clint Eastwood and Donald Sutherland. And after I had a chance to say something, I said, my favorite movie was Kelly's Heroes. And they both started laughing at the same time, like I just told a joke. He said, that is our favorite movie we ever made together. He said, we had so much fun. You remember Carroll O'Connor was the grumpy general? Clint told me, he said, you know why he was so grumpy? We had parties every night, and he was hungover every day. He's not that good of an actor. I was like, okay. But that was a lot of fun. I think I made $10 an hour by being an extra. But Donald Sutherland's wife, beautiful European lady, was standing there, and she looked bored. So I went to Mr. Sutherland. I said, your wife looks bored. Would you like me to get her a couple astronauts to take her on a tour? You can do that. I said, that was when we had the flip phone. And I said, hey, I got any blue suiters in there? That's what we call astronauts. We don't have a lot of imagination. So they wear that blue suit. But I said, I need a blue suitor here. Well, yeah. I said, Donald Sutherland's wife would like, where are you at? Where are you at? So they came and took her away for 4 hours, took her to the pad, took her inside the OPF, inside the shuttle. I think we were stacked. They took her to a stacked berth. When she came back, told him, Donald Sutherland came over, both hands, and just looked me in the eye, and he's like, thank you so much. I think you just got me out of trouble. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. And when Clint was leaving and we were saying goodbye, I said, if you do any Westerns, he said, well, Trav, the only problem with that is we don't film many Westerns in Florida. So that was the end of my movie career. But it was a lot of fun. And those were the special things you got to do just by being there, I was assigned to Clint Eastwood. One of my guys was assigned, one of us, like that. And we just all hung out, and it was a lot of fun. He called one day, there was, Dave Andrews was here earlier, and another guy, there you are. And they had them dressed up in black suits and Clint, we were on the pad surface and they wouldn't be there on launch day. Clint says, Travis, would these guys be here? I said, no, sir. It would just be me and us in our white suits and you in your orange. He said, all right, you guys back to the. So when I got back to the food tent, those guys were just a little, you just wrote us out of the movie. Yeah, I said, look, I wasn't going to lie to Dirty Harry. All right, Clint, yeah. Josie Wells ain't, not happening. So that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. You know, I don't remember. It had to be 90. So, oh, yeah. Oh, that's it. 2001, it won the Best Sound Effects Editing Oscar. And then the budget was $65 million. Opening weekend, they made 18, and they ended up grossing 90. So they got their money back. I got $10 now.
Last but not least, out of Triple T,
I'm getting there.
alcohol in space.
Yeah, let me read this. The presence of alcohol in space dates all the way back to the 80s and the Soviet Union space station called Mir. At that time, cognac was actually doctor recommended for Russian cosmonauts. So, and I believe I've heard Buzz Aldrin had Sacramento wine on the moon, but I can't confirm that.
Leads you to the Mir Space Station.
Yeah.
Yes, 91.
The last, I got to read this about the beer too. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I can't leave beer out of my story. Come on. Last year, the brewery in Ninkasi released a beer called Ground Control that was made from yeast that spent time on the ISS. I want one. So, cosmonaut Rumian, at age 58, he went to inspect the Mir for himself after staying 371 days in space, most on 2 stints aboard the pioneering Sly 6. He was a flight director for 7 and directed Mir Space Station for 18 years while still flight certified. He wanted to see the inside of the orbiting Mir for one last special flight. So, the last time we went to the Mir Space Station, my NASA quality and I are down inside the airlock. We're stacked at the pad. We're days away from launch. So I'm closing the airlock out for flight. And I got the book in my lap. Me and the NASA quality just bought the last stamp. All of a sudden this astronaut sticks in, I won't tell you who he was, but he comes, sticks over, he's got those white canvas bags that's got a leather handle and bottom. He goes, put this bag in that locker. I looked at the paper, I looked at my NASA quality, I said, it's not. So then I hear, put this bag in that locker. Now I look at my NASA and he goes, astronaut. So I opened the locker and of course I'm gonna look. I opened it. There was 8 gallons of vodka. In half gallon, 16 bags of vodka. And I put it for the last mission to Mir. So I kind of helped that.
You're super groovy up.
Mark. Oh, and speaking of the Russians, we're very lucky in our space museum, American Space Museum, to have anything from Russia. I hear Russians don't give stuff out, but they do trade stuff. So there's some ladies in town that have loaned us some stuff. I was lucky enough, I put the first Russian in, and they tell me, don't worry, he knows everything. He just speaks very little English. Oh, that's okay. With all the Russian I know, we're going to be fine. So I had them, the first few launches, we used to have to clean the astronauts' feet before they went in. That was okay when you had 2 or 4 astronauts. When I got to 7, I only get 50 minutes to put them in. This is my biggest enemy. So, he walks in, so I had him go to Walmart and buy these rubber boots, and they cut the top off, and they're called booties. And so he walks in, I said, I need to remove your booty. So being American, when you're talking to someone that doesn't speak English, you speak louder. I said, I need to remove your booty. And he just cocked his head and looked at me. I'm like, all right, in my head, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn to the wall. He's standing right there. I'm going to put my hands on the wall. I'm going to lift up my right foot and show him what I want. So I turn, he's standing there. I turn, I put my hands on the wall. He goes, oh, like KGB. I said, yeah, I like that. And I patted him down. And we got along the rest of the day.
Triple T, everybody. The one and only Travis Todd Thompson.
Thank you.
All right, buddy, good thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I hope to see you most Fridays on Stay Curious, our video podcast. So watch it on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and Twitch, which I don't know what half of that is.
None of us do. All right. Thank you all for Triple Thompson.
Thank you very much.
We got our people around the world watching our golden anniversary of the shuttle anniversary here. We're going to go out real quick and come back in about within 10 minutes with Mr. Jay Honeycutt, former space director of Kennedy Space Center, who's going to give us a history lesson for this 50th anniversary. I see Mr. Mike Leinbach is back there. Mr. John Tribe, Miss Nicole Stott is in the building. Hello, everybody. We're glad that you're here to help celebrate with us here. So we'll be back in a few minutes to bridge the space between us.
Good job, Mark.